All right.
So we're live
Yes.
in full
We are
effect.
live.
Let's
We're going to
see.
give a few minutes to see if we're
Oh,
So
on.
while we're waiting, and we're going to talk about our states, Texas versus Washington, how
mm.
is the weather there right now, and how was it today, just in case it changed?
It did change.
It did. Well, today, this morning was a little overcast and foggy this morning.
Hmm.
Cooler in the 50s. And then by later, but we did have not just overcast. So we have lots of fires going on right now. So we had smoke in the upper atmosphere as well. By
Okay.
later in the day, by afternoon, sun was out. You still have that smoke, so it looks a little orangish
Mhm.
outside, but it's nice and warm and beautiful outside.
Yeah, we've got a few wildfires near
Yeah.
that are affecting.
Yeah, so we have lots of fires going on right now. So we have smoke in the upper atmosphere.
I'm testing it to make sure it's on.
Yes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I see
weather
we have
here is pretty
someone.
good.
Looks like someone has joined.
Nice.
Yes.
Hello.
We've got one on.
Nice. So what about how is it there? Is it hot or
Well, of course, I'm in DFW, so it was mild today. We had overcast. We did not cross the 100 temperature mark today, so that's
whew,
good.
100?
Oh
We
yeah,
Is
not
that
today.
something you get common there?
During the summer,
Yeah.
during the summer, it can get very, very common here.
mm, okay.
All right, so we're 2 minutes in. We've got one who's joined. Um, I think we'll give it one more minute and then we'll
Just get started.
get started.
Yeah, I'm not sure if. Let's see.
So, Tracy, can you see on the right side of your screen on the bottom it says chat? I had to click on that to see the chat because it looks like. Thank you, Cheryl, for testing out our chat. Oh,
Good
sweet.
evening.
Hi, Vera.
Vera Fortman.
Good
Yay.
evening, afternoon. Yes, evening, because it's even
Evening.
kind of evening here, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
evening. I consider it evening.
Yes.
All right. Let's get
Well,
started.
all
Are
right, I'm
you
ready.
ready? I'm
I'm
ready.
one of the guests, so the co-host. So I'll let you kick it off, and let's get started.
All right, so one of the things that how we wanted to start this off was just talking about like when people move here to Western Washington from out of state, what is it that shocks them the most?
I think for here in Western Washington, it doesn't rain as much as people think it does. I've said it in
So
our
true.
videos over and over time that over and over again that it does not rain as much as people think. Yes, it's cloudy. Yes, it's overcast, but it's not as rainy as people think.
It's true. When people think of Seattle, they think of rain, and when they get there, they're like, "Oh, it really doesn't. It doesn't rain every single day."
Yeah. What about for you over there?
Well, for me over here in the great state of Texas, we've got anything and everything you want because I think we're the second largest state for population in the entire country. And if you were to look north, south, west, east, it's going to be a total different creature. But today in our DFW Metroplex, we're clear skies and we are not in the 100 degrees weather. If you really want to feel just sweat ooze from your pores more than you ever asked or would want, then you're going to want to go farther south, like toward the Gulf, and that'd be Houston.
Mm,
San Antonio is not as blistering hot. Houston has heat plus humidity. So
mm,
I think the coolest place to be is in North Texas in the DFW Metroplex. So when I think of Texas, with it being so huge, I try to think about the people who are moving here, and then I try to section it off: DFW, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. So I'll think in terms of that. But
Perfect.
today in DFW, it was very, very pleasant today.
good.
Perfect. So that kind of touches on why we're here, right? We're here to talk about the differences between Texas and Washington, of course, but also to show our viewers why you want to live here. What are the things you want to know before moving to either Texas or Washington? And who better to talk through those things than a couple of realtors from Washington and Tracey from Texas?
Yep, exactly. So I think one thing I want to point out too on something you said, we do the same thing here when we're breaking down different areas in Washington. Yes, Washington's not that big, but Eastern Washington versus Western Washington is very different climates.
Experience.
Yeah, very different experience, different climates. You go Eastern Washington, it's more like being in the desert almost when it comes to temperatures. But when you're on Western Washington, the weather is way, way different.
Yes.
Way different.
For sure. And you know what I just realized? I called us a couple of realtors from Washington, but I didn't actually say our names. So we've got William and Brandy here from Western Washington.
With the WB Nobles real estate team, powered by Mountain View Realty Group, and Tracey Serrell over here in the DFW Life. Love your videos and I love your channel. I watch a lot of stuff of yours. I love it.
Well, good deal. Well, that's what I'm here for, is to just serve people, let them know more about our different markets. So when they make a decision, they make the right one. First and foremost is to call me, and then I'll help you navigate to our different cities, communities, and suburbs.
So I have another question for you. What's the feel of everyday life in your state?
Oh, gosh. Well, let's see. I think that people are really surprised at the feel once they actually move here, because a lot of people have Texas, not everybody, but some people have Texas in a box. And that will start out with a country feel. They think we're country. But I think they're trying to equate that with our Southern charm. And one thing I always say is we're not the good old South. We're the Southwest, if you look at the map. So we're not like the South. So we have a lot of great culture here, and it just depends on where you choose to go. But we will sip tea, maybe some julep tea, which has a little extra in it. But we're going to be on that front porch. We don't mind sipping our tea and having a good old time. But so I think that's one thing. People are really surprised at the level of sophistication we offer, the level of culture, because they just don't know much about Texas. And I will give them this. Texas is like a whole nother world. I mean, you need a passport to come here, because there's so many things that are phenomenal about living in Texas that people don't even know until they get here. They're here and excited, because why not? I mean, on the 8th day, God created Texas. So of course they're excited to be here. But once they get here, oh my gosh, the opportunity to just click and vibe is just phenomenal.
So I'm going to actually redirect that same exact question to my lovely wife, Brandy, next to me.
Oh, way to put me on the spot.
I am putting my wife on the spot because that's what I do.
Yes, it's his favorite thing, I think. So what's the feel of everyday life in Washington? Well, I think we can speak more to Western Washington because we live in Western Washington and have for a really long time. And I would characterize like everyday life is a little bit more laid back in Washington. When you're up in kind of Seattle, which everybody thinks of when they think of Washington is Seattle. Yes, you have more urban, more hustle and bustle. But as soon as you kind of get out of that Seattle area, it's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more chill. And also I think of the big vibe around here is nature.
Outdoors.
Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot more people wearing their hiking gear on a daily basis than I think you see anywhere else in the United States, because we do a lot of hiking out here. There's a lot of outdoor adventures.
She does.
And so you end up spending quite a bit of money on that outdoor adventure gear. So I think people just end up wearing it as their daily.
And I think one of the things we love about Washington State, and I've been here for over 20 years now, and one of the things we love is the being outdoors. That's one of the main things, like she says, in Washington State. It's an outdoorsy state because you've got the mountains, you've got the snow, you've got the water, you've got everything right there at your fingertips. So being outdoors is a huge part of life here in Washington State.
For sure.
In Western Washington, I should say. It's a huge thing. I will point out, when we do talk about Washington, we often do talk about separating Eastern and Western Washington, like I kind of talked about earlier, because there's two separate vibes, two different types of places. Once you get over the mountains to this side, it's very different from being on the other side of the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, type of thing. So I'm going to ask the next question because I feel like I just like asking people questions.
Oh, but first, let me
go ahead.
The outdoor lifestyle. So in our communities, most of our communities, especially if they're 20 years or younger, especially, we have miles of paths and trails and hiking and all of that. That's just part of what builders and the developer put in. But if you really want something baddie, go to Austin, Texas. That's where their logo is Keep Austin Weird. And if you go to Congress Bridge, somebody from Texas better back me up on this. If you go to Congress Bridge at dusk, whatever time dusk is, you will see thousands of bats converging underneath the bridge. So people come out on their boats. It's like they stop their lives to watch these bats go batty. Mount Benel, you get the huge mountains, you get the crystal clear water. So if nature is your love language, then you definitely want to go to Austin. And you know, we're close to the Gulf of Mexico. So if you want to enjoy that, you can certainly do that. You know, we celebrate our Mexican heritage because Texas was a part of Mexico. Yep. So we celebrate the heritage, the people, the culture, and just depend on which way you want to go. And we probably got that vibe for you. However, might as well do this disclaimer. We don't have any ski slopes for you. So then we just hop in the car, do like everybody else, drive to our bordering state of Colorado or New Mexico, and you can just have all the fun you want. But when you come back to reality, come back over to Texas and enjoy your life.
I have to say on that bridge, I saw that bridge on like the Nature Channel. It was History Channel. I like those shows. And they were showing how people would gather there to watch all the bats fly from under the bridge. So when you brought it up, I'm like, oh, I never heard of that place. That's really cool.
Yeah.
When I was the sound. It's quite. You have not lived life in Texas until you've experienced that at least once.
Yeah.
So next time I go back, I'll head over there. When I'm going out to visit family, I'm gonna head over to Houston. I don't know how long the drive. I think Austin. I think it's 2-3 hours from where my family's at. I'll drive over there and check it out.
It's pretty spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So
how do the seasons or the weather in Texas affect things like activity, clothing choices, or even the houses that are built?
Well, the houses that are built, I don't quite know how to address that seasonality, but season-wise, you're in Texas, so you're going to bust 3-digit temperatures anywhere from July to August. Just get ready to sweat away all those extra calories you ate, you should not have eaten, and you refuse to go to the gym. Just go check your mail, and that will take care of it for you. It depends on where you are, because once you go to the Panhandle, the temperature is very different from when you go to West, it's different too. But overall, the one thing that I will say that no matter where you are in Texas, you are going to experience triple-digit weather. So sometimes you will, and I think you've touched upon this at some point, you're going to start stripping in a good way, taking off the layers of clothes, because it may be cool in the morning, but in the evening you're going to you pack your jacket, pack your sweater. And so that is one, as far as our temperature and weather, we don't get a lot of snow, but we do have ice. We had Ice Mageddon a few years ago where the power grids, the whole nine. But if we get ice or snow, everything is shut down. We're going to run to the grocery store and get all the toilet paper ever created. It's stock. I don't know why toilet paper is a savior to some people, but they're going to get the toilet paper and, little things just to survive, a couple of days. So,
What would you say?
I think for around here, the weather affects our clothing choices big time. Like you always have to wear layers. Like in Western Washington, that's the biggest thing that I would ever advise when you get here is learn how to layer up, because in the morning it might be chilly, but by afternoon it's sunny and hot. Or it might be sunny in the morning and you think, oh, it's going to be a great day, it's going to be beautiful, and then it's going to rain in the afternoon. So you always got to be prepared for the weather shifts, because our weather is kind of schizophrenic.
A little bit. And I think for touching on the activities, like you touched on the clothing activities here, there are a lot of activities, of course, during the summer, spring, and fall. I think here it's everybody's outdoors, as we've talked about this outdoorsy state.
Especially
everyone's in the summer. Everyone's getting out because we don't generally hit those triple digits. So it's very comfortable outside. We generally, I think this year alone, we may have broke 90 maybe once or twice.
3 times,
but not very much. We're usually, our summers are very mild. So we're usually in the 70s and 80s in the summer. So everyone gets out.
But the winters,
it's different. So it's gloomy, it's rainy to an extent, more gloomy than rainy. But we do have a lot of indoor activities for people. So indoor soccer, you can play basketball, baseball, people are rock climbing. So there's a lot of things to do, even though the weather outside is not great. But people still go out and hike, like this one, in the rain. And I'm like, but it's
not
cold,
everyone,
I'm not going.
Not everyone in Western Washington wants to get out when it's raining. So when you get to the end of that like fall, winter stretch of gloom, and the sun comes out, spring, summer, you're ready to be out. You're ready to be outside. So we are motivated to enjoy that summer more so than I think other areas. So I think that's one way that the seasons and weather affects us.
But I do think also, to touch on real quick, also with houses here, that we've noticed at least a change that you brought up to me recently too, is that we're seeing with our construction of homes, we're seeing a lot more air conditionings going to houses.
Yes. Because our summers are starting to get hotter. Like the last
We're not going to do the global warming thing, or we're not going there, are we?
No, but we have gotten warmer. I remember when I moved here, I think back in 2000 something, I don't remember, 2003, I didn't find it that warm in the summer. It wasn't that hot. And now as I've been here for even longer, I've noticed it's getting warmer in the summers. So people are now wanting air conditioning, and houses here weren't generally built with air conditionings. It's people are retrofitting their homes with them, ACs, mini splits, things like that now. Yeah. When you agree? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that kind of covers one of the things we were going to talk about is the weather adjustment for relocation clients. Like that's some of the things that we usually talk to folks. What do you usually tell folks who are moving to Texas from out of state when it comes to weather?
You will have winter for probably around 6 weeks. Again, it depends on where you are in Texas. But as a whole, when we have winter, it does get cold. I know it's hard to believe. We can get below 0, but it's very short-lived. You're going to mostly experience what feels like spring and summer year-round. People will, in December, be wearing shorts, tank tops. I think the first time we notice it, it's getting okay, I guess I will pull out the sweater, is right around, maybe a little bit around New Year's Eve. So you can go all the way to Christmas and still be wearing your shorts and flip-flop and not think twice about it. But it's going to turn, and it really turns a little bit after the new year. February is one of our coldest months. And then, it just warms up and keeps warming up and keeps warming up from there. So,
wow.
So if they're moving here and they're from Washington and they're not accustomed to our extreme temperatures, then I would give them a heads up. I remember picking someone up from the airport, and they opened the airport, DFW International Airport. They opened the door and they felt like they were walking into an inferno. But I just say that's fine. You're walking into what you think is an inferno, and you also walk into a fabulous future living here in Texas. Now let's get in the car, turn on the air conditioner, and get going. If we don't have working AC, we've got a major problem, because there's just no way you're going to be able to survive without it.
Yeah. One of our viewers commented, we get 6 weeks of summer in Washington compared to your 6 weeks of winter.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but
yes, I say we get about 8 weeks of summer. 8 weeks at least.
I think Serrell would definitely continue
I
arguing.
know she would argue with me about that one, but we get a decent time of summer. Yes, could it last a little bit longer? Yeah, we'd appreciate it. It just turns like right now. Usually is when it's starting to make that switch over.
Yeah, in the next couple of weeks, it's
it'll
going to
start switching over to being cooler, gloomy days, starting to rain here and there. Like we have rain in the forecast coming up for like 2 days, 3 days or so.
So one of the things we've noticed a lot of people in this area do to kind of counter that longer stretch of gloom is they go to a sunny place for vacation in February.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get through the holidays and then you go to a sunny vacation spot. So yes, this February, Tracey will come see you.
Yeah, we'll come to see you.
Yeah, and I think we have solved the world problem. We have the global solution. When you are too hot in Texas, go to your other house that you're getting with the WB Nobles group, buy your house there to cool off. And when you want to come back, when you gather back your senses and decide you miss us, then you come back here. So we can take it.
Winter down there.
There you go. I think we just solved the world's problem right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about housing.
Oh, yay. I like houses.
Mm-hmm. So one of the big things we hear, and one of the big reasons why people want to move from Washington to Texas is because you can get way more house for your money. So what Western Washington in general is what, like number 7 in, what did you looked at it?
Oh, cost of living. Oh, you mean for how much it is for like houses and stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes to homes prices, we are ranked, I think it's number 4 or 5 in this country.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, number 7 in the country for like housing costs and just cost of living in general.
Yeah, like the median home sold prices in this area are definitely higher than most of the nation. And so we have a little bit of a visual for folks. So Tracey and us, we did a little bit of pre-planning on this one. So for around the $500,000 range, you're looking at getting a pretty darn nice looking house here, Tracey. Talk to us.
All right, let me introduce you to Fabulous here. So this is a home that's in Justin, Texas, and Justin is a suburb in the Fort Worth side of our metroplex. So if you want space and land, then you probably, in anything approaching new, you're going to probably look at our suburbs, because the one thing we can't duplicate, get more, replicate is land. So if you already know you want something on an acre, you have to move out and go out. So this one is in Justin, and this one is priced at $530,000. It is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. It has a little more than 2,600 square feet. It's got, we all expect in our homes, for the most part, we're going to expect an office, media room, game room, open loft, nice patio with a ceiling fan. Because who are we kidding? We're in Texas. So you can get that nice patio with nice covered patio, ceiling fan. And I would invite you to go ahead and invest in a mister and some type of drop down shade too. Depends on how the house is oriented. But this particular home, it looks like it's on some land. So that one is on a little more than an acre. And it looks fantastic inside.
So you've convinced one of the comments we've got is Texas is sounding nice to me.
Right, and it just gets better.
Yeah. Wow, that's a nice home.
Yeah, I mean it's a big reason why we hear folks choosing to move from Washington down to Texas is you can get a lot more home for your dollar.
Yes,
for sure.
So on our side,
so on our side, it get us a little bit more nuanced. And I like, Tracey, you started out explaining that was a suburb, right? So for the similar range, this home in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, that's what you're going to get in Seattle. And that's not even kind of Seattle proper. I mean, it's Seattle proper, but it's a little bit outside of Seattle. This one was found in West Seattle, so it's a little bit further from the like downtown Seattle area. And it was this one's 900 square feet, two bedrooms, definitely not an office. And then if you want to get something that's more affordable, you're going to look in further south, further outside of the Seattle metro area. And so the home that's down in the lower right-hand corner is one in Olympia for the $500,000 range.
So something to point out about West Seattle is a highly sought after area. People love West Seattle. Safe and just shopping, walkability, things like that. So that's one of the things that draw people to us, and it's good schools. So that's a big draw for West Seattle.
Yep.
Now, when you're talking more heading towards Olympia, which most people don't even realize exists, or that is the capital of Washington State, Olympia is a different ball game. It's about an hour south of Seattle, and it's going to give you way more bang for your buck when you go down to Olympia. And that's a lot of cities heading south. Like you can get, there's many places like Tacoma, things like that, where you can get more bang for your buck.
Or even north, if you go north.
If you go north of Seattle. But anything is, the closer you get to Seattle, the more expensive it is.
And really, if you're looking at the $500,000 price range in the Seattle area, you're more than likely looking at a townhouse. You can get a lot more comfortability, more modern, more space in a townhouse in the Seattle area for that price range.
So one of the questions for Washington is, what are some hidden gem cities for safety and affordability in Western Washington? I would have to say Olympia is great for safety and affordability. That's a great place, as well as, I mean, there's a lot of Washington, unlike Western Washington's very compact compared to Texas, for instance, where you're very spread out. You're a lot bigger state. Here, it's not as spread out. Everything is a little bit more compact. There's not a lot of space to build out here. So what would be another city you would think?
Edgewood and Milton area.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really cute houses in that area. Definitely, there's a lot of neighborhoods where you feel safe with your kids running around. We just did a video on Puyallup.
Oh, yeah.
Puyallup is kind of a little bit of an up-and-coming area. So those are just some of the ones top of mind.
And I think Milton is a great area as well. Like there's a listing right now for around $700,000. It's a huge home, a little under $800,000, I think. And it's a huge home, multiple bedrooms, almost multi-generational living, and it's a great price for, I think it's almost 4,000 square feet.
Yeah, almost 4,000 square feet. We did a video on that one too.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful home, and it's in Milton, which is a great, safe area, and it's a great community in that area.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
So then we looked at some houses at the $1 million mark.
Oh, Tracey, tell me. I really want to know this one.
Okay. All right. Well, one thing I will say that our architecture here, it's you typically get a brick home, or you can have a stucco home. You can have composition roofs, or you can have metal roof. You can have tile roof. It depends on the HOA. But so this home, and I'm just throwing that out there because there could be a difference in because when I lived in Northern Virginia, you mostly saw siding, and that was just the style of the home. So if people want to know some of the difference, but here is this particular home's claim to fame. So we're right at $1 million to the dot. So it's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. It also is a little bit more than an acre. It's coming in at about 4,300 square feet. And of course, with all the extra, this one, I believe it's a 3-car garage. They have a swimming pool. And it was built, just to put things in perspective. I know it looks nice, new and sexy, which it is, but it was built in 1999. So.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a brand new construction.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. That's cool. So when we look at it, again, we kind of look at two different areas. We look at Seattle and we look at Olympia, because those are two pretty drastic difference in what you can get for purchase. So up in the upper left-hand corner, that's a $1 million home in one of Seattle's highly sought after neighborhoods, which is Green Lake area. It's a beautiful home. It's been really well maintained over the years, but as you can see, you're not getting a lot of land, right? There's not, you're right next to your neighbors. And it's about 2,000 square feet.
Not a lot of backyard, nothing like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Green Lake area is beautiful.
Oh yeah, it is.
There's a whole lake you get to walk around, and there's activities around there. There's cafes, restaurants. Like, it's a really, really cool area to live in. So I can see why people would want to live there. And so then in the lower right-hand corner, that's $1 million in Olympia. This house has a whole basketball court, which I thought was really cool. And it's on a good sized piece of property. It's more like 3,000 square feet. I think it's 3,500. And it's a big, beautiful home on, a good sized piece of land. So just seeing that kind of difference there in Western Washington.
So we do have a question. What are some other big job creators in Seattle, not in tech?
The first thing that comes to my mind is Boeing.
Yes.
Boeing's a huge employer in this area. The medical field is also pretty big. We've got we've got some medical facilities that people from all over the nation come here, just specifically for those medical facilities. Those are the top two things that really come to mind.
Military is massive here.
That's true.
Because you've got Navy, Air Force, Joint Base Lewis McChord, which is one of the largest bases, if not the largest in the nation. So it's a city of its self-contained city of its own. So military is a huge presence here, but I think it's the medical field and Boeing are huge outside of tech.
Those are the ones that come up most often.
Yeah.
What about you, Tracey? What about that?
Yeah, if you're in the Austin area, that's going to be Dell, Google, a lot of tech things in the Austin area. Most of our major cities have some type of military presence, whether it's a combination of joint military. In our DFW area, we have medical, we have a little financial hub. We have South Lake is where we describe as the Beverly Hills of Texas, very wealthy. Next to South Lake is West Lake. We're talking dripping, uber rich people. So there you have our financial hub, some of the major players in financial industry there and other things. But in our DFW Metroplex, we have hospitals, we have different types of industry, the financial industry, and a number, because we're such a global market and hub, people fly here from all around, that we have quite the diversity in the type of employers. We have Boeing. Actually, Boeing has a facility in our DFW Metroplex, close to the Fort Worth, Arlington, in that particular area. But we have a lot of different industry here. It just really depends on which part of our state. Obviously, DFW is my specialty. I've lived in Austin for quite a bit, but that's what I think you could expect in terms of what are some of the major industries in the DFW Metroplex. If anybody's here from DFW or Texas, just drop your comment. And if I missed anything, just fill in the gap.
So we've got a question
for you.
Yeah, I heard the airport. Yeah, here we go. I heard the airport in Dallas, Fort Worth makes it easy to travel to a lot of different places. Is that true?
It's more than true. So you have a choice. If you're on the Dallas, mostly they're going to do Love Field. But our major one that people mostly use if they're traveling internationally is our DFW International Airport. And it is huge. American Airlines is the anchor there. And things, if you're going almost anywhere you want to go, you can go through our DFW International Airport. The Southwest Airlines is the anchor at our Dallas Love Field Airport.
Okay.
That airport is huge. I flown into there. It is big, very big.
So we were talking about what kind of home you can buy. We've also talked a little bit about jobs. So let's talk a little bit about cost of living, because I know, for Washington folks who want to go down to Texas because you can get such a bigger house, does the cost of living kind of match that experience for you?
Right. I think one of the things that many people are, I don't know if shocked is the right word, but they may not calculate, is we don't have a state income tax, but we do have property tax. And some people are surprised about that. We do have ways to help you, swallow the medicine with a spoonful of sugar. So there are ways to have homestead exemption to reduce your property tax, but we definitely have property tax here. And there's a way that you can have that reduced. You can protest your property taxes every year if you want to. Just knock yourself out. If you're willing to make the effort, typically they help you out with that. So I think that's one of the things that people are like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that or consider. The other thing is if you have a newer home, and I am very generous with the term newer, then and if it's in a community, a developed premier plan community where you have sports complex, multiple different sporting things right there in the community. You have multiple swimming pools. You may have a little water park in your community. You are going to have a HOA, homeowners association. So so that's above the price of the home. And that number can vary quite a bit. Is your HOA just, maintaining the entry, or is your HOA robust where you having wine clubs and we have a chef that's coming and teaching us how to bake and how to cook? That just really, really depends on the community. But so we have certain expectations, minimum expectations in our neighborhoods. So I would say the two things that I hear people really surprised is that we have a property tax. So if you bought a $1.5 million, your property tax is a percentage. There's a whole formulation of calculation. You do that research on your own. You can just plug it in, Texas property taxes, and it will spit out what your annual property tax is.
Right.
So with that cost of property tax and just talking cost of living in general, what about like gas prices, food prices, and stuff like that? What is that like there?
It's pretty consistent across the state. Now, if you are in a region of our state where they really produce a lot of oil, sometimes in East Texas, the prices are lower. Some parts of West Texas, the prices are lower. But I don't think we see a significant difference. Like, if I'm in Dallas, it's going to be $2 higher than it is, in Austin. It's still within range, because we would hate for you to drive all the way from Austin to Dallas to load up your, to get your gas. Like, that makes any sense, just to save a couple dollars. But I don't see the huge drop off or the huge sticker shock when it comes to purchasing gasoline.
Yeah.
So I think here, gas is pricey. It's, usually we're close to $5 a gallon, and that's across the board in the state. So it's pretty pricey. When it comes to cost of living, we have a very high cost of living here in Washington. I think we're ranked number 7 in the nation for cost of living. On the property tax side, yes, it seems like we pay a lot of property taxes, but that's because of our home values are quite a bit higher than most, right? The cost of a home here, I think the median home price in the state of Washington is about $700,000. So it makes it seem like we are paying a whole lot in property tax when an average compared to the rest of the nation, we're not that far off in property tax from everyone else. It's just, seems like we pay more because we're paying more for our houses. Gas, of course, that is a lot due to the taxes we pay on the gas here, actually, for like infrastructure, things like that. We pay quite a bit on tax just for our gas. So our gas prices are pretty high.
Yeah, that's one thing people notice when they first get here.
I think they're shocked by the price of what gas is here, unless you're coming from somewhere like California, or, where gas prices is usually more than ours here. In California, but we were just in New Orleans and looked at gas, and it was like $2.37, and we're like, what? That's huge savings to us compared to what we pay.
For sure.
But I think also that is somewhat offset the cost of living by, we do have a higher minimum wage, especially in Seattle and Western Washington, than a lot of other states do.
Yeah.
We get paid here, people are paid generally a little bit more because of that high cost of living. Is it quite enough? I think.
Yeah, it never is.
But it is more.
Never feel. I just saw somebody in the chat ask, will you see a lot of horses and cowboys in Texas, not the football team? But excuse you, is there any other type? Go boys. We the boys. So that's a really valid question. You will now, first of all, automobiles is our primary mode of transportation. Okay, we do work in a horse, but there are plenty of people with horses. So you're going to see horses almost anywhere. You can be in Dallas and see someone maybe around the Trinity River and some kind of path on a horse. So we're not overly surprised when we see them. Fort Worth is considered where our Western heritage is, and that's where you'll see real life cowboys on real life horses driving real live cattle down the street, longhorn steers. So the horse, you know plenty of people with horses because plenty of people have ranches and a number of things here. So a horse is a real thing here. And so you will see real cowboys here, but we don't notice them stop and point because it's just like, oh, there's somebody on a horse. We see them, and then we may get a bug in our burr and decide we want to go ride on a horse too. So you will see horses, but the horse that you're going to see most will be a horsepower in someone's vehicle.
All right.
I mean, I think that takes us into kind of culture, right? What are some of the big culture shocks in Texas and Washington, and some of those? Let's talk about some of those social norms and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we'll start with you about Texas. What are some of the social norms and out there in Texas?
Oh, bless your heart. Let's see. Now, I know that. You already know that. So if someone tells you,
I know that.
Bless your heart. God bless. They are not praying for you. They are talking about you. There is something to say.
I know. That's what I was like,
clutch my pearls. You've done something wrong. So, I think people are really shocked that we're pretty friendly people. And when they're moving here, like California and some of the other places, do not come for me, Californians. Hey, how you doing? I'm just saying, based on when I helped people, they are really shocked at how genuine we are. If we say hello, how are you doing? We expect you to respond, not to ignore us. Because we want to, it's almost like it's not an effort. It's just something we do. So I think the level of friendliness with no strings attached is really surprising to people. And we have all kind of colloquialisms that we use. And once you decide to relocate here, I'll just give you a handbook of the things. Don't smile if someone told you this, because they're not really. Now, then if the inflection is, honey, let's just pray, then they really do want to pray with you. They're legitimate. They're not being sarcastic. So I think that's our level of politeness is really a surprise for so many people, because I believe as a society, people are so guarded that they're thrown off guard when you just show your heart. When you're just saying, hey, I'm a person, you're a person, you had a rough day, I had a rough day, but I'm not going to make your day worse. I'm going to say, hey, how you doing? So I think that's one of the biggest things. And on a lighter side, we have so many, let's say if you're into sports, the major cities, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, have professional sporting events and arenas. Austin has a professional soccer. That's all they have that's professional. But they've got the good University of Texas at Austin, go Horns. That's like a professional football team. But the other cities have professional basketball, professional football, professional soccer, WNBA, the women's basketball league. So it's a lot more to do than they think. And if they decide to move to one of our suburbs where it feels like there's nothing there but Piggly Wiggly, there's not even a Walmart or CVS, then I just tell them, honey, you hear that? Now, okay, sugar, just gas up the car and you can drive to these other places. But the main thing that I care about is the quality of life once they get home. Because you're going to have crazy out there, wherever out there is. But when you come home, that is your sacred place. And that's what's so important. And that's the thing that I really listen for when people are relocating, because, you know, as well as I, people do all of their research online. By the time they call us, they already know the floor plans, the square feet. They may have picked out a couple of builders, maybe the community. But I think one thing that we do as a group of realtors is we try to help them achieve what they want and see if that what you want supports your actual lifestyle. So there's so I would just, and you guys probably have similar experiences, but I think those are the things that people are just really even the cherry on top. Once they get the news they're moving here, that's even better to know the things that we can offer once they get here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I'm going to direct that same question to my wife, because that's what I do.
Because he throws me under the bus again.
Because I like to throw my wife under the bus a little bit sometimes. But I think, social norms.
Yeah, I think as you were speaking, Tracey, I was reflecting on the experience here, and Seattle freeze is real. When you get to Seattle, especially like Seattle proper, people don't talk to each other. I mean, I lived in the same apartment for 3 years, and I did not know my neighbors. Now, I didn't know any of them. Like, I didn't even know the one that lived across. I never saw the one that lived right across the hall from me. Just never saw them. And when you do see people in Seattle and you like make eye contact, they don't, either they won't look at you or they kind of glance and look away, awkward like. And in the grocery stores, you know, people don't like.
They don't talk to each other. No. There's no hi.
It was really weird when I first moved to Seattle. I would play a game and I would stare at everybody as I was walking down the street and smile and try to see how many people would actually smile back at least or say hi. And then I got over it. Now, when you get outside of the Seattle area and you get out to the suburbs, like one of the things I noticed when we moved to where we're at now, because we live about 25-minute drive out of Seattle now, is that the first week we were here, our neighbors brought us cookies. So the Seattle freeze does not extend to all of Western Washington.
Yes.
You're definitely going to get more friendly out in the suburbs of Seattle. Now, still not, I don't think going to be nearly the same as what you would experience in Texas, though, because when I was in Atlanta, like all I did was walk to one strip mall, and I talked to more people in that like half an hour span than I did on any shopping trip I would ever do around here. Like people were just so friendly, and you end up in conversation with folks at the grocery store, folks you didn't even know. And it was delightful conversation. You know, it was really definitely a very big difference that I experienced there from here. So that's definitely one thing I think what we usually suggest to folks who are moving here from out of state is just a reminder that the Seattle freeze is real, but a big but there. Once you meet people, like they're also very accepting. So our biggest suggestion is find meetups with groups that are doing things that you're interested in, whether it's hiking or board games or dancing. There's lots of meetups around, and that's the easiest way to meet people and find your people in this area. Like we always tell people right away, like one of the first things you need to do as soon as you get settled is find those meetups.
Find your community.
Yeah.
Find your community. Whether it's church, whatever it means, find your community. Because once you find that community, then it becomes a little bit different.
Yeah.
I know my thing when I first moved here, many years ago, how I made my friends was I played sports. So it was on the basketball court. That's how I made my friends. Basically, my community, basketball players. So, that was what I did to meet people. Because like she says, Seattle freeze is real. Southern hospitality, I love it. I mean, going there, everyone's so friendly. You're not going to get that.
I want to jump into something real quick. Let's talk about the touchy things that people don't want to ask, but they might want to know, and the things they don't know they need to ask, but they probably should. And that I would say for a native Texan, moved around different places of the country, what I would describe Texas overall is a conservative state. Now we will, they have guns here. They most certainly do. But we don't run around just shooting up the place. We don't do that. But because most people, they grow up on tractors. A lot of people, that's just part of it. But we're very conservative. Most people either go or pretend they go to some type of church. Now, whether it's Bedside Baptist or Wake Up When You Want to, Church of God in Christ. but they going to claim to have some level of conservative beliefs. But we already know that what you claim you are and what you really do are two different things. But overall, we are a conservative state. We do have areas in our state, like for Austin, for example, that's very liberal. I went to school there, so there, it is what it is. I loved it, and I still love Austin. So for them, they are what people call, their motto is keep Austin weird. So that's where you'll see, you're going to really see some tree huggers there. I remember we had the treaty oak. There's a huge historic tree that had become diseased or poisoned intentionally. And the city had determined that they needed to tear that down and get rid of the treaty oak. Well, you had people protesting every day. One or two would go ahead and chain themselves to the tree. They're not moving. We've got to save this. So Austin is considered really liberal, but liberal compared to what? So I would say that Texas overall is conservative, but because we're such a diverse society that you have liberal people mixed in with conservative people, we don't really care about your political affiliation. What we care about in our conservative Texas is your heart. So you can be red or you can be blue. All we care about is how you're going to treat us. But overall, people ask, what does that do in Texas? Nothing to do. So I would say overall, we are a conservative state, but, with a lot of, there are a lot of liberal people here. But I think some people think they go to Texas, it's just going to, they really try to be polite. But what they're actually saying is they have such a warped perception of Texas that is almost skewed to think we're country bumpkins, we're behind, we have less than quality schools and education, where we have some of the strongest schools and accountability toward education. So I just wanted to throw that in there since we were talking, social and freeze and things like that.
Yeah.
So I go ahead.
I'd say we're the opposite in some regards. Like we are, especially Western Washington, we are more liberal. I think in the same regard, though, we're also accepting and open to folks of all different kinds of backgrounds and ways of thinking, political, affiliation, whatever. I think you're going to find more of those tree huggers like you were talking about in this area for sure. Like we've got a lot. I mean, the eco consciousness in this area is massive. I mean, it's just I've noticed it when I go outside of Washington. I'm like, wait, you don't have recycling everywhere? You don't have this or whatever. It's just there's a lot of that here.
There's
for
a
sure.
big eco-conscious infrastructure for that here in Washington.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it's very liberal. And that's very interesting because the state, that's, you say Texas, most of Texas is fairly conservative. Whereas in Washington, it's split in half. So you go to Eastern Washington, you have more of your conservatives. If you go to Western Washington, you have more, liberal side on this side. But what I find is that's amazing or great about here is everyone's very accepting of everyone.
Yeah.
No matter where you're from or your political views,
or your
most
religious
people or
background.
religious background, people here are very accepting of who you are. I think it still comes down to it too. And the last thing is it's more of what's your heart. You know what I mean? It's type of thing too here.
Yeah, I think it's in a way it's similar for sure. I lost it. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, you were on a roll. I think that's what I was going to say. I think that some people think that we are so liberal here.
Oh, yeah.
To an extreme. And I wouldn't say that's the case. I mean, yes, we have some extreme liberals that can be very loud. But that does not characterize all of our state for sure, especially all of Western Washington.
I think
there's a big spectrum to be found.
I think it's kind of like you said about Texas. They have this notion that Texas is this certain way when it's not, you know what I mean? There's way more to it than that. And I think the same thing is for Western Washington. People think it's all these liberals and this and that. And it's like, well, actually, it's not what you think it is. You come here, it's totally different than what you might think in this area.
Yeah.
Well, would be shocked by that it's not what you think it is. Not everyone's the radical liberal, and not everyone in Texas, some radical, conservative. It's totally different than what people believe it is. They let the few try to dictate the many on what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah. And there's no way we can cover all the beautiful things by either of our states. But I think if people were curious, we've answered some of the curiosities. We talked about some of the fun things and the things that, hey, this may not be fun. It may give you the warm and cozy feelings, but it's the truth. This is just how it is. Yeah. So from my perspective, I would just invite people, if they have any questions about our states, I think you have our QR codes available for both of our our YouTube channels, and you can reach out to either one of us, because if you are, I'm going to say from my Texans, if the state of Washington is anywhere on your radar, you feel like, you know what, I just want to cool down a little bit in the summer, then I would really encourage you to get in touch with Brandy and William with the Noble Group, and let them really help you see which part of Washington, which is a state, which is going to really support your life and your lifestyle. And and if you're in Texas, then this conversation is over. You know to call me and reach out to me.
Not afraid Tracey. So if at this moment, thanks everyone who showed up. We super appreciate all the support. If anyone has any questions, please throw them in the chat. We've been trying to answer them as we go. And also those QR codes are there. So find us, find our channels. And I think that wraps it up for the most part. Yeah.
Well, this has been a thrill. I'm so happy I was able to spend some time with you guys. And I feel like we've answered some questions. We did our best to try to answer, the questions in chat.
Yeah, and I think we've got all of them. All right. Let's poll the viewers.
Okay, let's do it.
Who's still out there? Texas or Washington? Which would you choose?
I have a feeling I know where Serrell would go.
I know. Serrell's going to choose Texas.
I know. Where would you choose? Let's see if anyone's still there to decide. Pick one. They're paying attention enough.
I'm excited that people showed up and were engaged, and I've enjoyed listening to everyone. Thank you, Vera.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
So yeah.
This was super fun. Thank you, Tracey.
For our first live.
If it wasn't for you, Tracey, for the motivation, we wouldn't be sitting here
exactly.
right now. So
you motivate us.
Oh, we got one vote for Texas.
All right.
You already in Texas. Don't you act like you're not.
Vera's in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they say, everything bigger and better in Texas. So there you go. But, we'll make an exception for Washington.
Everything's greener here. It's greener here. Everything is greener.
Yes.
Now, I've got to put a plug in. If you go to East Texas, that's where we have our lake and our pine trees. So it's pretty green there. But it's just it's a two different worlds. It depends on the experience you want.
So big.
Mm-hmm. So Texas.
I think you got to find what fits you in your life.
Exactly. You can have it takes you 12 to 14 hours just to drive from one end of our state to the other. So almost anything you want is here. Mm-hmm. But if some reason we don't have it in Texas, give the Noble team a call and they can hook you up from their perspective.
Yes. Hook 'em horns.
Every day.
Oh, that must be for the Texas Longhorns.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So in response to that, I'm going to say.
Here he goes.
USC.
Oh, I think our time is
I'm in Washington.
I'm having a really bad I'm having a tough time here.
I know I live in Washington, but I was born in Texas, by the way, in case people didn't know that, in southeast Texas, a place called Nacogdoches. And I grew up in Southern California. So even though I live in Washington, I still love my California teams. Go Lakers. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Yep.
Thank you so much,
everyone.
Everyone have a good night, and hopefully catch us next time.
Okay.
Bye, Tracey.
Take care.
Sleepless in Seattle. Yep.